might be a place that you can go. There might, it's no, he's saying there is a place. And it kind of makes me imagine, that means that there's some place waiting in real life right now, there. And I think a lot of times, like, we think about death sometimes, and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen after. Where will I go? What will it be like? Is there anything there? Like, I think a lot of people wonder about that. Is there anything after life? But Jesus is saying very directly, there is a place. And that's where my Father is. And you have a room there. And I'm going to prepare it for you. And it kind of goes to what Chris was talking about. You have a place you're going to. I think almost like, I think it's more personal, as Melissa said, but almost like a hotel room. Like a hotel. You made your reservation in a big motel. You have your room number. You know that's your room. And all you have to do is show up. But someone is preparing the room for you. Because you know, like, when you leave the room, it's all messy, and then the people have to come in and then clean it up for the next person. It's almost like the same thing. They're preparing it specially for you. So in that same way, I think about, like, there's a certain room just waiting, like a place that is yours, waiting for you. But I like how it says, he doesn't say like somebody else is preparing it. He says, I will go and prepare it for you. And so I just think how more important that is than just saying, like, he didn't say an angel is going to prepare it. He didn't say, like, some other dead person's going to prepare it. Like, it's not like there's servants waiting around, waiting to, like, serve you. It's Jesus who serves us.
Very personal.
Yeah, very personal. It's almost like how he washed their feet. He was the servant who washed their feet. Even though he's God, he's the one doing it. So it's very kind of backwards thinking. We always think the person on top, everyone serves that person. Like, that's just our thinking. Like the president, everyone does everything for the president. If you're like, if you think about a king, the king sits on the throne and everyone does everything for the king. But Jesus is the king. But he says, I'm the one serving you. So it's kind of a backwards way of thinking. You're like, he's the one who's washing your feet. You don't think of a king. You go into the castle and the king takes off his clothes and starts washing. You know, there's no way. If anything, everyone bows down to the king, not the king bowing down to you to wash your feet. So it's kind of like an opposite thinking. But he's saying, I go, like, you even think about the person who cleans your room, who prepares. You think, I won't leave them a tip. They didn't do a very good job this day. Or you're like, oh, maybe I should. They made my room look really nice, so I'll leave a tip. But you don't really think very highly of that person. You're probably like, oh, they're just a maid. Probably, who knows? Who cares? But this person, this is Jesus saying, I'm preparing your room for you. I will then come get you and then bring you to your room, basically, later. And I just think how, like Crystal said, how personal Jesus is with this. And I think it goes back to that very first couple words. Don't be troubled, or don't be afraid. Believe in God and believe in me. And then he tells them this again. I think it's just, sometimes when we think so many troubles in this daily life, difficulties, and we're like, oh, it's so difficult. But I think sometimes it's nice to think, you know, when this is all over, done, there's a place that God has for you. A place that's all waiting for you. Just a very nice and beautiful place. And then he says, then I will bring you into my presence so that we can be together. I like that thinking too. He's just like, I want to be with you. That's why I prepared the room for you, so that we can be together forever. And I think that's a thing that's different with a lot of, I know I've studied a lot of different type of religion, and that is nothing like a lot of different religions. Most people, they say, like, they'll die and they either become a god or they come back, but nowhere, no other religion really says that God wants to be with you, wants to sit with you, be with you, and that you guys can be close together. No one really talks about that. It's really mostly, it's very distant, like, you'll serve this God, or you're like kind of a lower person. Like, it's always like high and low. or distant, far away, or you come back again. But God is saying, no, I want to be just with you. That's why I prepared all this for you, so that we can be together. So personal. And so it's just an amazing thought to think about how Jesus has to go to the cross so that he has to die for us, just so that he loves us and he wants to be with us so much that he's doing all that just so that he can prepare this place for us. Then this is where it's kind of so like human, like us. Thomas says, we don't know where you're going. And so it's just like, but which is very honest. You know, like I think we feel that way sometimes. We're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Where are you going? Like, and I think it's like we feel, I don't, it would be even, I think every Christian even feels that way at times. Like, I don't know what's going on in life. I don't know where life is going. And maybe we feel that we know maybe God is there, but sometimes we get have a maybe difficult time in our life, and we try to say, God, are you right by my side always? Like, this is a very difficult time. Are you seriously right there? But he's telling us, I'm always with you, basically. And I'm preparing a way for you so that we never will be separate. Like, you can be right next to me. And so it's really beautiful that he's just he has a human response, and then Jesus, he doesn't like yell at him. He doesn't like say, are you stupid? I've been telling you for like all this time, like a year and a half I've been telling you all this and you haven't figured it out. He just answers him. He answers his question. He basically says, I'm that way. You don't know how to get there, I'm that way there. He says, I'm like the path, basically. You just know me and you'll get there. Don't worry about it. I think that's why he tells him in the beginning, I know you're going to betray me. I know you won't believe in me. But don't worry about that. Just believe in me. Maybe you doubt it right now, but just in the future, remember me, basically. Because I will lead you to me. That's what he's basically saying. I will lead you there. But I think what's... we'll come back to that one, because I think that's a very important part right after that. So, when we go down to verse 8 there, Philip then speaks and says to Jesus, Lord, show us the Father, and he will satisfy us. What do you think what he means by that? Why is he asking for the Father and not just say Jesus? Because Jesus is there, right there in front of them. But Philip asks, just show us the Father, and he will satisfy us. What do you guys think about that? Does it make sense, or I think it might be a little hard to understand because of the culture.
I think it's normal for people, but it's very hard to believe what we cannot see. So it's very natural thing for him.
Just like the air. You can see the air by your breathing. And if you don't believe something you can't see, then you can ask him, do you believe there's air? Right, just like this. No.
I think what Charlie said, though, I think it's really what they're saying. I think it's really at their heart, the true thing in their heart, because before Jesus came, they only knew about God the Father. They only knew about the one God who's in heaven. They don't know anything about who Jesus is. So it's kind of like this mystery, like who he is to them. Like he keeps on saying, I'm the Son of the Father. But, so Philip is just asking us, we want to be with the Father. That we know that. So just show us him. And then that's enough. You don't have to, basically, Philip is saying you don't have to do all those things from above. You don't have to prepare a place. You don't have to do any of those things. Just show us the Father, and that's enough for us. And I think that makes Jesus a little sad at that point. You can kind of tell by his reply after that. But because he says right after in verse 9, I have been with you all for a long time, or such a long time. Don't you know me yet? Like, you can see that he's a little disappointed, a little sad. Like, you've been seeing the Father the whole time, and you didn't realize it because they are like the same. So you can sense the kind of disappointment. I don't think it's disappointment because Jesus necessarily, but disappointment for Philip that he's been missing the one thing that he wants the most. He hasn't been able to see it. It'd almost be like if there was like a big present in the room, and maybe it's your birthday, and you really wanted this certain gift, and then you come down and your parents like, okay, it's your birthday, let's have a party, and you're like looking, I was really hoping I was going to get that gift. I really wanted that gift, but it looks like I didn't get it. But maybe it's in the corner, and you just don't see it. And then you're just kind of like disappointed. And your parents are like, why are you so disappointed? We have a party for you. I've been with this celebrating, but you're like, oh. But inside you're thinking, all I wanted was this gift. And then your parents are like, what do you mean? We've gotten you what you wanted. Everything you wanted. And you're not happy. Why not? But because the person didn't see the gift, they didn't realize, it was there the whole time, but they missed it. And so Jesus is like, has that feeling like, the gift is in front of you. You've missed the whole time. And if you would have, and so I'm sad that you've missed it. He's not like upset with him. He's disappointed that he's missed it the whole time. Because then he tells him, Philip, the person who sent me is the Father. So how can you say, show us the Father? Don't you believe that I am the Father? The Father and I are one, basically. I tell you. And then, okay, so I'm going to jump back up to verse 6. Because the very end of verse 10 and the very end of verse 6 go together. It says, Jesus answers him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except through me. And then you go to the very end of verse 10, where it says, I tell you, what I'm telling you, the Father who lives in me does what he wants. So he's basically, believe me when I say the Father and I am the Father and the Father isn't me. So he's saying, if you cannot go to the Father unless you come through me. But at the same time, I and the Father are the one, the same being. So I think that's why he's saying you can't understand. You can't get to the Father unless I am part of the Father. So you want to see the Father, but you're looking at it, a part of the Father. So I think he's trying to tell him,